and to keep this democracy working is the common goal of Ukraine and our partners in European Union and NATO. That is why Ukraine is not just fighting for our towns, our villages and our land, but for the values which made the European Union so successful.
Are there some signs that relations between Washington and Kyiv may be improving? President Trump has suggested that President Zelensky should meet President Putin to stop the killing and end the war. He also says the US is close to agreeing a minerals deal with Ukraine after accusing the UK and France of doing nothing to end the war. Let's speak now to Serhiy Leshchenko, an advisor to President Zelensky's chief of staff and also a former Ukrainian MP. Serhiy, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start with these latest comments from Donald Trump then. I mean, this situation is changing by the minute, isn't it, really? But one of the kind of standout things he says is that that Zelensky and Putin need to kind of get together and hammer this out. Do you think now is the right time for that?
President Zelensky from the first day of the war said that he is looking for direct negotiation with Putin because this war was not provoked by Ukraine. This war just started to kill Ukrainians and to occupy Ukrainian territory. And the position of President Zelensky is not changed so far. He said this 24th of February, when the war started 3 years ago, that he is open for direct negotiation with Putin to prove that this war was unprovoked and has nothing to do with Russian narratives which provided for the world through the propaganda machine.
So when should that meeting take place? Because Zelensky's also suggested that actually there needs to be something of a foundation of a plan in place of US involvement in any plan from here as well. Should the US get out of the way? Should it be for Ukraine and Russia to work this out now?
I'm not in the role to comment what is American plans in this situation, but I can just stress that this war is not just about Ukraine. This war to destroy the global order, which made Western partners so successful, so wealthy nations, and to keep this democracy working is the common goal of Ukraine and our partners in European Union and NATO. That is why Ukraine is not just fighting for our towns, our villages and our land, but for the values which made the European Union so successful. That is why we're looking for cooperation not only with American but with European partners in this way.
We've been talking this morning about the upcoming meetings between President Macron of France and President Trump, and then Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, and President Trump. That one is on Thursday. Let's focus on that from our point of view. What do you think Prime Minister Starmer can do? What will he achieve on Thursday?
Again, our expectation is just what we are looking for, but it's up to your government and your citizens to decide. Our expectation that our partners will take part of the responsibility on the security line since negotiation coming out. We expect that some peacekeepers will stay on the control line between our controlled by our government territory and occupied territories, and we are looking for some partners to provide the troops to be at least on the standby position to be involved in the situation if Russia violates the ceasefire and then peace deal.
So you're looking for troops. So would an agreement from Starmer and Trump this week on the presence of troops, would that be that would be what the most crucial thing, the most important thing that they can agree this week?
I think not only this, but also further support for Ukraine, military support and support for restoration of Ukraine, and also exchange of prisoners of war and taking back our children who are as hostages of war on Russian territory. So many topics can be decided together, and in these circumstances, our partnership with United Kingdom is, 1 year ago was signed the first agreement. Last weeks ago, it was 100 years agreement, so century agreement, and in this situation, United Kingdom can be one of the strong guarantors of Ukrainian sovereignty. And in this case, of course, so many topics can be discussed. I believe it's up to your leader, with the American president, sit and talk about this. But the role of UK is very strong in Ukraine. We have recent polls of our public opinion, and the British Prime Minister, one of the most prominent by eyes of our citizens.
There are reports this morning, Serhiy, that US negotiators who are sort of leaning on Ukrainian officials for access to Ukraine's critical minerals have raised the possibility of cutting Ukraine's access to Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet system. This is according to Reuters, citing 3 sources this morning. What do you make of that as a negotiating tactic?
Starlink is very important for the front line, and we very much appreciate that this was provided for Ukrainian soldiers from the beginning of the war. And we should not expect that it's going to be stopped because, again, it will only one side who will benefit from this. It is Russia. I am not sure that it is in interest of American partners, of Elon Musk, to make Putin happy. That is why we should not even accept this idea. I believe it's very important to keep going with our talks with our American partners. The same with the agreement on rare earth minerals. Ukraine is ready to cooperate with our partners, but Ukraine wants to see guarantees for future of Ukraine. It should not be just one-way agreement when Ukraine provides and has nothing on back, to be paid back as a part of the deal. That is why the negotiation isn't going on. By the way, 3 nights long, 3 previous nights, negotiation was going on in Kyiv, and we expect that one day, one moment is going to be finished with successful proposal to be signed.
Serhiy, it's really good to speak to you this morning, and we'll keep in touch as the next few days unfold as well. That is Serhiy Leshchenko, an advisor to President Zelensky's Chief of Staff. I really encourage you to read the Times write-up on all of this today, the tactics that Sir Keir Starmer is going to use and what he is hoping for, really, because one of the things about this is that the American objective is to end the war, but there's not an awful lot more depth to it than that, and there's this growing consensus feeling from the reporting in the Times and indeed elsewhere today from the UK government that Starmer has to try to move Trump in the right direction towards the right kind of deal. Trump wants a deal, and I think at this point it is still suggestible. You can still influence what the deal will be.
Well, if you read the reporting, it is suggesting that Trump is very much freestyling here. Even members of his own administration are having to catch up whenever he makes a comment. So they're all just taking their own interpretation of what they're meant to be doing. So there's not a cohesive approach at the moment. And just wonder if someone like Keir Starmer or Emmanuel Macron can pull that together and start to give it some kind of direction, or actually if we're just giving too much weight and too much heft to the influence that Keir Starmer may well have.
Yeah, it's completely fascinating. He goes in with the kind of UK backdrop of being in the Five Eyes intelligence community, being in the AUKUS defence alliance that's kind of built around nuclear submarines. That is in contrast to French President Macron. Is there a good cop, bad cop thing to be done here? Macron goes in tough, and then Starmer picks up the pieces on Thursday and puts it all back together in something that feels a bit more palatable to Trump. Are Macron and Starmer talking this weekend about how they're going to play it in the next few days, for example?